We begin with the controversy surrounding the new tax reform bills before the National Assembly, even as President Bola Tinubu has rejected the advice from the National Economic Council, NEC, asking him to withdraw the proposed bills for more consultation. Tinubu insists that the bills should be allowed to follow the, quote, legislative process. In a statement on Friday, the president emphasized through his advisor that any input from the council should be incorporated during the public hearing of the bills. Now, at the 144th meeting of the National Economic Council, presided over by Vice President Kashim Shettima with 36 state governors in attendance, the council had recommended a full withdrawal of the bills to allow for more consultations. Earlier in the week, governors of the 19 northern states, along with traditional rulers and stakeholders from the region, had strongly kicked against the bills, especially the draft on the derivation-based model for the value-added tax VAT distribution among the country's federating units, saying it poses some form of injustice to the north. Well, to help us understand the controversy, we have joining us in the studio a financial expert and chairman of the Arewa Economic Forum, Ibrahim Dandakata. Thank you so much, Ibrahim, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So let's talk about the controversy surrounding this bill. Let's look at why the federal government is proposing these bills first, and then why sections of the country are against it.
We agree with the federal government that there's a need to revamp the taxation administration in Nigeria. We're one of the most least when it comes to collection of taxes. But our grouse comes from the fact that the federal government, or the federal government of Nigeria, in most cases, punishes the citizens for its failures. Yeah, we agree that there should be the widening of tax net, but the way they go about it is not revamping the infrastructure to do the necessary job needed for them to collect more taxes. They are putting more pressure on the populace. Now, this government came in with the mantra of trying to reduce the tax burden on people. VAT is a multi-layered tax. Now they are saying that they are trying to simplify it. And okay, now how are they going to reimburse people when they don't even have a comprehensive data on people that are paying tax in Nigeria? They can't do that. We know that they can't do that.
Well, they said that the data has been built up, and these are some of the processes that the bills will actually take
Well, I think they are putting the cart before the horse. The horse should be there before the cart, and that's what we are saying. Secondly, on the issue of derivation, we know that the infrastructure is not there, and we are proposing to the government that they should do the needful and do what is simple and more easily drivable: sales tax. Sales tax is something that you collect at the point of usage of whatever service or product. And basically, the idea behind taxation is that you pay tax so that you benefit from whatever it is that the money is going to be used for. So if I'm eating Indomie in Damatru, and Lagos State is collecting the money because the Indomie is produced in Lagos,
how does the taxes on the
on the Indomie?
Oh, okay,
it's collected in Lagos.
Yeah, I mean it happens not only that. I mean telecoms and all of
exactly,
that. Exactly,
financial services. Now let's look at financial services.
Yeah.
Past few years, we have increase in financial inclusion in North Nigeria because of the POS issue and these money market operators or pay and all these things. So a lot of people are coming into the banking net. And they're operating and generating services, and they are paying taxes on those on those transactions they are making. And the head offices are in Lagos. The whole process is in Yobe or Maiduguri, and the tax is being paid. So the citizen that is paying the tax is not going to benefit from the taxation, the tax that he's paying. And the whole idea behind taxation is that I pay to the government, and government render me services for the tax that I pay to it. So it doesn't make any sense. Sales tax is something that you collect at the point of the enjoyment of product or service, and it should be at the state level, or a coordination between the state federal revenue agency and the federal revenue generation agency. We have this what they call joint tax board.
Yeah.
What have they been doing?
JTB.
They have been there for more than 15 or 2 decades, I think now. More than 2 decades. What have they been able to achieve? They have not been able to reduce the taxation. They have not been able to stop the multiple taxation. And they have not been able to even coordinate the data that we need to implement what reform this administration is trying to bring into. So I think they are putting, as I said, the cart before the horse. They should get the horse first.
Yeah, but the government is also proposing that it will remove taxes on essential goods and services. Now, they are saying that food, public transportation, house rents, and other necessities need to actually have their taxes removed so that more citizens can benefit. I mean, isn't that some good initiative?
Well, let's look at the data first. How much is the government generating from food? Are they within the tax bracket? You understand what I'm saying? There's a difference between rhetoric and the actual reality on the ground. How many food sellers are paying tax? Where are they collecting tax? Where is the tax going? So if they're making this presumption that they are removing tax on food, I mean the actual tax doesn't get paid on those services. We're talking about actual things that affect people. As at now, based on the policies of CBN, there is not much cash around. People do a lot of transactions online. People pay taxes for those transactions online. Those taxes eat into our pockets. So those monies go somewhere. They don't come to where we need them. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the whole idea on this fight against payment of proceeds based on derivation. It should be fairer.
Well, if you listen to this, I want us to really base our talk, our conversation here on those things that the government says is going to trickle down to people. Now, Taiwo Oyedele, who actually heads that presidential committee, I want you to hear what he said. He said, if you hire a taxi, we assume that you're not the poorest Nigerian, so you have to pay the tax. Whereas if you get into a bus, that will be completely tax-free. That's what we've done. Those are some of the things.
That's too elitist. That's too elitist. Taiwo Oyedele, I'm very sure, has not used taxi or public transport in a long time in his life, because he should know that there is no public bus being operated anywhere in Nigeria. So everybody uses public transport, taxi most especially, in places like Abuja and in places like Kano. So those are not even within the tax bracket.
So it still boils down to data?
Yeah, they don't have the infrastructure. What they are supposed to do, apart not presenting tax bills, is building on the infrastructure, getting the data ready. This is a country that doesn't even have a social register. But a country that has a database.
Well, we actually do have a social register. But maybe it's not up to date.
It's not something that they can use, because anytime they want to do palliative, whatever it is, they bring a form, you fill a form, you pay, put your BVN, your account number. If they have a social register, they don't need to do that. They should know within their system who needs this palliatives more. You understand what I'm saying? So the point here is, this is a government that has data for voters, but they don't have a comprehensive data for the people that needs the palliative more.
Of course, you know, politicians,
so
they
exactly. The point
more.
here we are saying is that as Arewa Economic Forum, we are not against government. We are willing to work with any government that comes into power to better the lives of our people. But what we are saying is that the government should do the needful, not punish people for its own inefficiencies. If they really want to do the tax reform, first they should have the tax data and know the vulnerable people, where they are, and how they can reach them. But you don't come up every other day, every other week, and start telling us that we are doing palliative, we are doing, what do they call them? All these
social
investment programs, and we want you to fill a form. Why don't you know where I am? I'm a Nigerian.
Yeah, but is there a need for us to actually raise our tax? Because the government is saying that it doesn't have enough monies, and it says our VAT, which was recently moved to 7.5, is not enough.
The government that can afford to buy airplanes, to go on this junketing, to carry hundreds of people for foreign trips, for having legislators collecting this jumbo amount of money, should have that kind of money to do what's needful to make the nation be alive. We're talking about the lives of people. We're talking about the existence of the corporate existence of the nation, because you cannot govern a country that doesn't have people. You cannot govern a country that people are hungry. People are really hungry.
Well, the presidential committee says we're undertaxed. So we need to actually move the VAT from 7.5%.
I agree with you. I first said that we are not undertaxed. I agree with you on one issue. We are not undertaxed. We are very poor at collecting taxes.
Okay.
And that's what we are saying. If the government is really sincere, it's not to increase the taxes, but to create the infrastructure that is needed to collect the taxes that are necessary.
Yeah, but it wants to build the VAT to about 15%.
That's what I'm saying. That's what we don't.
7.5 to 12.5.
Let me restate what I said. The government is putting the cart before the horse. What we are saying is that know the people that are supposed to pay the tax. Put the infrastructure in place. Know me, Ibrahim Dandakata, is from Dakata Ward in Nasarawa local government in Kano. And this is what I do. This is what I earn. This is what I am supposed to pay as tax. or I should be exempted from tax. Then I should be on the social register where if you are giving out palliatives, you will know how to reach me. You should know your citizens. You understand what I'm saying? So what we are saying is that we're not against government increasing taxes, but it should be done based on the fact that they have reliable data and the reason why they are doing it. As I said, if you are saying that you are removing tax on food items, okay, what part of the food items that we consume in Nigeria goes through the borders, or goes through the shipping system, or goes through the transportation system, that the taxes that are collected goes to the federal government or state government? We all know that it doesn't happen. So this is just like something you're just saying, I'm going to slap you, but I'm in Abuja, you are in Kano, and you're going to slap me, but I'm in Abuja. That's exactly what the government is saying. They are removing taxes on something that they are not even taxing before. So it's just...
Interesting perspective. Now let's go into the politics of it. How could President Tinubu's deputy, Vice President Kashim Shettima, be chairing that meeting of the National Economic Council with the 36 state governors, and his boss comes out to say, look, I don't go with what you're saying? Does it mean like there's no communication between within the presidency?
From our perspective, it's just the president telling the whole nation that they should go to hell, that he's going ahead with whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, because he says the impute could be made at the National Assembly, but not for its
democracy is about representation. The vice president was voted into power together with the president on a joint ticket. So it's not only President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that was voted into power, it was a joint ticket. So the vice president represents a constituency. The 36 governors represent the whole nation. So if the president is saying that I will not listen to your advice, it goes to say...
No, he's saying that the advice should be sent to the National Assembly, but that withdrawing the bill now or stepping it down is what is not happy with.
They are saying the same thing, because what they are saying is that withdraw the bill for more consultation. He is saying that this consultation should happen at the National Assembly. Now, we all know what the National Assembly is.
Well, I don't know. You tell me.
We all know.
What exactly?
We all know.
What do you know about the National Assembly?
We all know the kind of robust arguments that happen in the robust arguments that happen in the National Assembly. So we believe that we will not get what we want at the National Assembly. And I think it's based on that fact that the governors are saying that we should have more consultation before presenting these bills to the National Assembly. So I think the president is adamant on this. Maybe he has more what do you call it, confidence in the committee that he created than the people that we voted into power to lead the affairs of our nation. Because the governors and the vice president are people that we voted into power.
Yeah, but I'm also interested in this. The vice president represents the presidency at NEC. So, couldn't the vice president have spoken with his boss before
the vice president can also be the president?
Well,
yeah,
in acting capacity,
exactly.
when the president is not around.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying is a joint ticket. It's a joint ticket that made Nigerians to vote for them, because we believe in their capacity and capability as two of them, not as one person. So if the other person is telling the other person that he's not capable, or the whole of them are not capable, or he believes that whatever process he puts in place must be followed, then it leaves so much to be desired.
Now let's talk about why it looks like the North seems to be against President Tinubu and his government on this particular issue. We've seen Bayo Onanuga, who is the president's spokesman, writing a very lengthy article as to why this is not targeted at the North. The VAT, there's been this controversy whether the selling of, whether VAT should be given to states that actually destroy bottles of beers and all of that, while the North is saying that, look, whether it is fair for me to be consuming communications, like you just give an example here, consuming something here, and then a company is paying the dividends, the tax.
The dividends, the dividends somewhere else.
Yes. Well, so why does it look like there's a clash between the president and the North?
There is no clash between the president and the North. The only thing is that we may be Abokis, but we have a long memory. We remember what happened when he was a governor on the issue of this VAT. We remember what happened when Wike was a governor on this issue of VAT. So we all know that the agenda has always been there. So we are not fighting the president or the presidency. We are fighting the idea of looking at us as leeches in this country. We consume. We have the largest population. We have the largest land mass. And we consume.
But the argument on the other side of the divide is that the quality of consumption in the North is not so much like that of the South. And that's why you see some people are conversing.
Where are the data coming from? Who has that data? If they say that, and everybody believes that Kano is the largest commercial city outside Lagos in Nigeria, then where is that data coming from?
Well, if you look at the consumption patterns between different sides of the country, you will see that there's been this argument that, I mean, Kano, for example, keeps destroying alcoholic products through its Hisba and all of that. Yet when VAT comes,
how much does alcohol
it takes money from the federal government.
How much does alcohol contribute to the VAT? How much alcohol is consumed in Nigeria? What percentage of alcohol consumption contributes to the VAT? And what we are proposing with the sales tax is that, okay, if we have the sales tax, then we will be collecting money that has no alcohol in it, because consumption tax. You understand? Not value-added tax, consumption tax. What we're saying that, okay, let's go to the sales tax. You understand what I'm saying? So if we are not drinking beer, nobody's giving us on beer. So let's do that.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen this sales tax actually being used in some Asian countries and all of that. But do you think it's more applicable?
We used to have it in Nigeria too.
Oh, interesting. Actually.
Yeah, we used to have it in Nigeria. It's a failure of the system that made them to go the round circuitous way of going the shortcut of collecting VAT at the point of production.
Yeah, I think that was under Babangida's
yeah, but we used to pay sales tax. If you remember, whenever you buy anything, they put stamp on the receipt. Even if it's excise book you buy, they put stamp on the receipt, and that's how you pay the tax. So the
sales tax, will it be going to the state government directly, or it will still be shared?
Exactly. That will be the basis for derivation.
Okay.
Yes. That will be a fair basis of derivation.
Okay.
Yes.
So now let's talk about these bills.
And before you reach that,
okay.
The North is not against Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We gave him the largest amount of votes, much more higher than what he got from his own region. So we're not against him. And the North has kept Nigeria going and will keep Nigeria going. It was the North that made Nigeria, and it's the North that making Nigeria to still be in Nigeria. So we are not against any section, and we have never chased any section away from the North. Remember, a certain minister now, when he was a governor, declared that his state was a Christian state. No state in northern Nigeria has ever declared that state to be an Islamic state, only Sharia compliant state. And Sharia gives equal right to Christians, Muslims, and non-Muslims alike. So,
all right. I mean, these are interesting times ahead of us. But let's talk about President Tinubu insisting on these bills going to the National Assembly and the National Assembly playing its role. Do you think that the federal lawmakers have the capacity to actually listen to their constituents and do what their constituents
we are going to ask them to do that, and we're going to ask our governors to talk to them, and we're going to talk to them at our different levels. And they should know that there's going to be a consequence for disenfranchising the North in anything in this federation that we call Nigeria.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like the North is misunderstanding President Tinubu, because he's saying that, look, we need these reforms to have more money to be able to undertake some of the things we promised Nigerians.
We all agree.
So if we're not having so much like the way we would want from the sales of crude, of course, taxation will be the next thing. And then, of course, he says that it's an avenue for us to be able to have more monies, and then, of course, widen the neck. Why doesn't it look like we should give him some chance?
We have. When he came in as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Buhari's regime has already removed subsidy from petroleum products, most especially PMS. And we saw how much money has accrued to the Federation account in terms of volume of money since they removed the subsidy regime. We've seen what has happened when they removed the tariff, subsidy on electricity, how much money they have been able to save. They said it. Now, what I will ask you, or I want Nigerians to ponder upon, is how well has this money been utilized for the betterment of Nigerians? So if you are telling me that you want to do something good for me in the future, I would like to ask you, what have you done for me lately? You have collected so much money on my behalf from last year to this year. What have you done with that money to better my life? So if you're telling me that I should give you more, I think I have the right to question you. And I keep on saying, there's a difference between telling me that you're going to collect more money to better my life, and actually whether you'll be able to do that, whether you're just going to do that in a circuitous route and take away my money from me. And
so
not
are you doubting the capacity of the Tinubu administration to actually implement some of the things that they said they
because
will do?
The quality of our lives has not improved.
But we've seen the government actually giving leverage to small businesses, like withholding tax has been removed and all of that. I mean, to allow businesses breathe. I mean, as the government is actually introducing some taxes, it's actually removing some taxes too. Isn't that looking like a fair deal?
The Human Quality Life Index, has it improved? It doesn't matter how much grammar you blow. It doesn't matter how much policies you pull out of your hat. But how has it impacted on the lives of common people?
So if these tax bills eventually get passed by the National Assembly, despite some of the observations, without including some of the things that NEC had advised that consultation should be upon, do you foresee a failure in implementation?
We know it's going to fail. We don't even think about it. We know it's going to fail because...
At what stage will it be failing?
Because
if you do know.
I've said it here in this program that they don't have the infrastructure to implement it fully for us to see the benefit. Once they do it and there is no infrastructure, it's going to fail. And the consequences of that will happen in 2027.
Yeah, and I'm also worried, just quickly before we try to run off this conversation, if indeed the Joint Tax Board, where all the states meet together with the FIRS, the states didn't bring some of this observation, or could it be that the federal government did not make these bills known to the states through that Joint Tax Board before these bills were sent to the National Assembly?
You first mentioned that there's a committee that was created by the presidency to bring these reforms. So obviously, they are not, if the governors who have representatives on the Joint Tax Board, who happens to go to those meetings and report back to them, refuse to agree to these proposed bills, that means they are not, it's obvious that they are not
consulted. Their commissioners actually attend the meetings. I mean,
but are they not supposed to brief the governors when they come back? They are supposed to do that. When we are talking about consequential issues that have to do with the livelihood and the future of this country, they are supposed to. And the governors they should ask them what happened. So obviously they have not been consulted, and that's the reason why there was a unanimous agreement that these bills should be. It wasn't. I believe those bills were created by that committee without consultation with the Joint Tax Board and the Federal Revenue Service. I believe so.
Well, Ibrahim, just before I let you go, I know you're not a politician, but could there be political consequences for this action?
I said it just now.
If President Tinubu does go ahead with these bills.
I just said it now. Anything that is inimical to the economic well-being of our region will be met in 2027.
All right. We must thank you so much. Ibrahim Dandakata is a financial expert and also the chairman of the Arewa Economic Forum, Arewa Economic Forum, actually. We must thank you so much for joining us to actually help us take a critical look at some of this and why it looks like the North is actually hitting hard at President Tinubu on these tax bills and all of that.